So hi everyone, and welcome to your afternoon meditation. And we're going to be doing a discussion session as well after the meditation. So if you're out there on YouTube, stick around for that. It's going to be on non-judgment and how you actually live in a non-judgmental way, moment by moment. First, we're going to do a meditation based on today's lesson, which links in very well with that topic. Lesson 308 from A Course in Miracles workbook. This instant, here's the only time there is. So very much at the present moment, the now, as Eckhart Tolle would call it. So just giving yourself the gift of the next 20 to 25 minutes time out, where you can just surrender into that instant, into the now. Set yourself up for a great discussion session. So just putting your phone on mute or silent, going somewhere where you're not going to be disturbed in the next 25 minutes, sitting comfortably in your favorite meditation posture. So that might be sitting on a chair. If you're doing that, just sit with your feet shoulder width apart, keep your back straight, cup your hands in your lap, make sure you're comfortable. You could also sit cross-legged on the floor, sit up straight in your bed, your back propped against the pillow or the headboard. Lotus or half lotus posture also options. So main requirements are that you're comfortable and that your back is straight, because I'm going to be doing some breath work and energy work where you raise the energy up the spine. And that requires a straight spine to be most effective. So closing your eyes and just start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So just breathing in, notice how the stomach rises, chest rises. Squeeze the sphincter muscle. It's the muscle you use to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. Just clench that, creates an energy lock as well as a pumping action. So you just pump this life energy or kundalini energy, as it's called in yoga, up the spine. And you simultaneously draw it up, like you raising it up the spine into your heart center with your breath. Just put one hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space, smile. Take another sip of air in. Just feel this warm, tingling feeling flowing into your heart center, into your middle back, your upper chest. Another sip of air, just draw it all the way up the spine, up the neck, back of the head, into the crown of the head. So the entire spine has got this life energy flowing up and down it. Another sip of air in at the top. And at the top of the inhale, just pause and scan your mind, just noticing any thoughts or emotions going on in your mind. Particularly anything that's distracting, disturbing, distressing. Notice those thoughts, the quality of the thoughts, notice the energy of the thoughts. That's really the emotion. And notice how this feels in your body. So maybe there's some physical symptoms and signs, knots in your stomach, maybe a sinking feeling in your stomach, a feeling of heat rising, it's anger. And you clenching your jaw involuntarily, clenching your fists. Maybe there's a tightness in your chest, dry mouth, sweaty palms, the extreme nausea and panic attacks can come just from your thoughts and emotions. So wherever you are on that scale, just notice, breathe in again, top yourself up with air. Just notice the thoughts, notice the feelings that go with them. the physical sensations. And now, with the help of your breath and today's idea, I'm just gonna let it all go. This, you can say, this instant is the only time there is. And you might notice that all of these distressing, disturbing thoughts have a time component. There's often an attachment to the past grievance, resentment, just a false belief coming from the past. It's causing an expectation of the future to be a certain way. That leads to desire and fear, which disturb our peace. So whatever it is, just notice that this instant is the only time there is, and right now I'm willing to let this all go. And then exhale, and just blow it all out with your breath, just letting it all go, surrendering it all into the nothingness it really is. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest here in this peace and the stillness between breaths for a few moments. You smile. And then breathing in again. Deep inhale, filling up the stomach like a balloon. Squeeze the sphincter muscle, notice that. Notice the energy rising up the spine with the breath into your heart center. Keep one hand on your heart. Draw the energy up the spine. Notice the air flowing into the nostrils, the chest and the stomach inflating. Another sip of air in. Now life energy is raised all the way up into the crown of your head. It's like a wave in the ocean, cresting in the crown of your head. Take another sip of air, final sip of air, so you're completely full of air. And then the gap between these breaths, just notice the peace and the stillness that arises. Smile. Because this is your natural state. And all the words, all the meditation, breathing techniques, various spiritual practices were just designed to connect you with this peace that passes all understanding, goes beyond the intellectual mind. So just really connect with it for a few moments. You should feel a natural happiness and peace arising. Smile. Take another sip of air in. And then you're going to exhale. Just sigh it all out. So sighing it out of your nostrils, making a sighing sound on the back of your throat as though you're fogging sunglasses. Keep your mouth closed. You feel the energy subsiding down the front channel of your body. It's flowing into the lower stomach. Your groin, just resting there in peace and stillness again for a few moments. And then repeat the cycle. So breathing in again, and just to step back and watch, just observe all these subtle sensations of the breath. So nowhere to go, nothing else to do. Breathe, relax, be still. Just observe all these sensations of the breath. Bring your mind completely into the present moment. It's the idea of breath watching. Watch the breath and the subtle sensations of the breath. And the monkey mind has nothing else to focus on. You're giving it like a dog with a bone. You're giving it something to chew so that it's not going to get obsessed by these relevant and trivial, disturbing and distracting thoughts. The ego loves you to think. It's trying to let go of all of that. All this the next 20 minutes or so. So as you keep watching your breath, just breathing in this nice, deep, slow, rhythmical pattern in your own time. I want you to imagine a lovely lump, heavy, warm, relaxed feeling flowing in, breathing it into your crown of your head. It's flowing down through the face, relaxing your face and your jaw, flowing down into the back of your head, relaxing your whole head, smoothing out any lines of tension in your face. And just breathe in and draw that lovely, peaceful, calm, warm, relaxed feeling down into your neck and your shoulders. Don't hunch them or create any tension, but quite the opposite. Drop your shoulders down away from the ears. You can shrug them forward, shrug them back. Just feel a nice, warm, tingling sensations spreading through your neck and shoulders. And exhale, slide all out. And just feel like you're releasing some of that tension that you hold unconsciously in your neck and shoulders. Just getting more and more relaxed with every breath, sinking deeper and deeper. Every breath into this lovely, peaceful, calm, relaxed state of mind. And this really lump, heavy, warm, relaxed feeling flow down from your neck and shoulders, so through your upper arms, your triceps and your biceps, down through your elbows, into your forearms, through your wrists, your hands, and your fingers, your arms, just hanging lumpily and heavily off your body. Feel the weight of them pressing down into your lap. And you're just getting more and more relaxed with every breath, sinking deeper and deeper with each breath to this lovely, peaceful, calm, relaxed state of mind. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do. Just breathe, relax, be still. Let this lovely, lump, heavy, warm, relaxed feeling flow down from the neck and shoulders, just releasing any remaining tension there as you exhale, and letting it seep down like warm water into the chest, upper chest, your spine, just flowing down and flowing down into your stomach, into your stomach, into your lower back. Just a nice, warm, tingling feeling, stomach in your lower back. Stomach is filled up with this really lump, heavy, warm, relaxed feeling, like a hot water bottle in your stomach. And just feel that warm, comforting feeling seeping down into your groin, through your buttocks, through your upper thighs, back of your thighs, through your knees, down through your shins and your calves, your ankles, your feet and your toes. And your legs are completely lump heavy, warm and relaxed. Feel the weight of them pressing down into the chair, into the floor. Your whole body from the crown of your head, just sweep your awareness from the crown of your head all the way down through your head, through your torso, down into your groin, your buttocks, through your legs, down into shins, through your knees, feet, toes. So your whole body, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, is completely lump heavy, warm and relaxed. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do. For the next 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so. Just breathe, relax, be still. Keep watching your breath, keeping your mind nice and still, calm, empty, open, but aware. And listen with your heart. Keep one hand in your heart center. So you're not listening to these words intellectually. It's really about feeling into them, allowing the words to engender higher states of love, peace, joy, that all these words are really directed to help you to experience those higher states. So let the words just kind of drop into this calm, empty, open, spacious awareness. And that way they will sink a little bit deeper than your intellectual, your conscious mind into your subconscious. And you will feel the presence of what they point to. Remember, the words are just signposts to the truth. Keep one hand on your heart. Keep watching your breath to stay anchored into this nice, calm, empty, open, spacious awareness. Allow these profound words from Jesus, our master teacher, to permeate into your awareness. So I'm going to read you the preliminary section to today's workbook lesson on what is the second coming first. And we'll move into today's workbook lesson on the holy instant. So what is the second coming is the question. There's a lot of misunderstanding about this, so listen carefully. And again, just feel into the words. Words are pointing you to the transcendent state in your mind beyond time and space. You get a little glimpse of that in this meditation, then it is indeed very powerful for you. So Christ's second coming, says Jesus, which is sure as God, is merely the correction of mistakes and the return of sanity. So I'm going to translate some of these Christian terms. Christ. Christ is simply your higher self. It's known as many things in different traditions. Buddha in the Buddhist tradition means the awakened one. Christ means the anointed one. Christos in Latin, actually originally from the Greek, Christos, adapted to Latin. The anointed one. Buddha means the awakened one. Higher self, the Atman, is another name for it. Soul in Sanskrit. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's the presence in you. It's your true self, your true nature. Christ's second coming is the awareness of that nature coming into your mind again, which is sure as God. It's as sure as the source of that. Sure as eternal love. Is merely the correction of mistakes and the return of sanity. So it's actually no big deal. It's just we're returning to sanity from our insanity. It is a part of the condition that restores the never lost. It reestablishes what is forever and forever true. It is the invitation to God's word, to love's extension, to take the illusion's place, the willingness to let forgiveness rest upon all things without exception and without reserve. It's quite a tall order, as we'll discuss after this meditation. Forgiveness to rest upon all things, all the time, without exception, without reserve. That is living in a state of non-judgment. How do you actually do that? So we're going to be discussing after this meditation. Now just sink in. Don't worry about the how-to. Just sink into an experience that these words are pointing to. Place beyond illusions. Place where you're at home. Once again, you're totally connected to your true identity, which the lesson's calling Christ. Call it whatever you want. Higher self that works better for you. Doesn't matter. Buddha nature, your Atman, soul. It is the all-inclusive nature of Christ's second coming into your mind that permits it to embrace the world and hold you safe within its gentle advent, which encompasses all living things with you. There is no end to the release the second coming brings, as God's creation must be limitless. Forgiveness lights the second coming's way because it shines on everything as one, and thus is oneness recognized at last. So as you exhale, just sigh into that oneness. Just pointing to a state where there's only one mind, one identity, one consciousness, one perfect idea of love. When you see forgiveness on everything, you let go of the idea of separation, of the form identity, the reality of form identity. Then oneness is recognized at last. So forgiveness is the way back to oneness. So the second coming, this awareness, just ends the lessons that the Holy Spirit teaches, making way for the last judgment, in which learning ends in one last summary that will extend beyond itself and reaches up to God. God can be translated as love, reaches up to this eternal loving presence which is still in your mind. Remember, it's all metaphorical. There's no real up or down, height or depth in truth. These are constructs of the material world that we use in language to help us to understand this inner dimension, which really has no up or down, or depth or height. But the words are helpful pointers to point us deeper. Again, I'm using the word. So how else do you say it? Deeper or higher in your awareness. The second coming is a time in which all minds are given to the hands of Christ, to be returned to spirit in the name of true creation and the will of God, the will of this eternal loving presence that simply wants all minds to be one with it, in it again. That is the destiny of every living creature, is to wake up and realize that they are not separate from the will of God, from the will of the one source of life. The second coming, therefore, is the one event in time which time itself cannot affect. For everyone who ever came to die, or yet will come, or who is present now, is equally released from what he made. In this equality is Christ restored, as one identity in which the sons of God, the extensions of love, acknowledge that they all are one. And God the Father loves the source, smiles upon his Son, its extension, his one creation and his only joy. Loves one creation as itself, and is its only joy, and that's you, your true mind, as it truly is, completely one with its source. So pray that the second coming will be soon, but do not rest with that. It needs your eyes and ears and hands and feet. It needs your voice. And most of all, it needs your willingness. Let us rejoice that we can do God's will, the will of love, and join together in its holy light. Behold, the Son of God, the extension of love, is one in us. And we can reach our Father's love, our source's love, through him. So through this Christ identity, this higher self that knows that it is one, that it is not a separate self, confined to a body, limited to a material world, in which all things must fade away and die eventually. Transcendent identity in which there is no fading, no sacrifice, no sickness, no loss, no death. Only the reality of love, right here and now, which leads us very nicely into our lesson, Workbook Lesson 308 for today. So breathing in, nice deep breath in, filling up the lungs completely, breathing into the lower stomach, into your heart center, the upper chest, into the head. Take another sip of air at the top. One hand on your heart till it slipped down. And in this gap between breaths, take one more sip of air in and then just pause. Just drop today's idea, key idea for the lesson, in to this holy instant. This instant is the only time there is. Right here and now is all there really is. It's actually quite a mind-blowing idea. Just let it percolate in. Right now, this is all there is. And, it's always now. It's never not been now. It's never not been this moment. Only your thinking mind obscures this reality. Because you wander off into the past, into the future. So none of those ideas and thoughts are real. The only thing that's real is right now. If you can just be aware of right now, and happiness and peace will come naturally. So exhale on the truth of that. So you do have a sense of blowing away the clouds of the past grievances, judgments, pain, suffering, all your conditioning related to the past. You're just willing to let it all go. The help of your breath, blowing it away like dark clouds, which have no power to obscure the eternal sky. It's your true awareness, or the sun, which is the source of that awareness, God, if you like, in this analogy. Just pause briefly in stillness, smile, and then breathe in again. Nice full deep inhale, just letting the breath take you completely into the present moment. In this present moment, listen to these few sentences about this key idea to just help point you deeper into the present, into the holy instant, as the Course calls it, the eternal now. Say, I have conceived of time in such a way that I defeat my aim. If I elect to reach past time to timelessness, I must change my perception of what time is for. Take another sip of air and just to top you up. Feel this eternal, timeless presence arising. Smile. There's happiness, peace, and joy there. Because time's purpose cannot be to keep the past and future one. The only interval on which I can be saved from time is now. For in this instant has forgiveness come to set me free. Birth of Christ, my higher self in my mind, is now, without a past or future. He has come to give his present blessing to the world, restoring it to timelessness and love. And love is ever present, here and now. Exhale. And just sink into that ever-present state of love, which is available right here and now. It's going deeper. Each passing moment with each breath into that stillness. Smile. Breathe in again. Imagine you breathing in the very essence of this presence of timelessness, which is love. And give thanks for this. Thanks for this instant, Father, Source, addressing your most innermost self, your beingness, source of your being, whatever you want to call it. Really has no name. It's formless by definition. Say thanks for this instant and just breathe in this love and this gratitude into your heart. Say, it is now I am redeemed. This instant is the time you have appointed for your Son's release and for salvation of the world in Him. And just smile as you feel that release in the present moment. And exhale. Just drop into it deeper and deeper with each passing second. Spell all the air out. Just rest here for a few moments in emptiness, in the stillness, the silence, timelessness, eternity. By definition, silent. There is no noise. There's no movement. There's nothing to disturb the holy peace of God. And so breathing in again. Just watch your breath, breathing in nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. Just step back and just let yourself sink into timelessness, into the holy instant. That is the only time there is. The lesson teaches us. There's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. For the next 2 minutes of silence, just breathe, relax, be still. Surrender into the holy instant. The next 2 minutes of silence. And so just very gently on the count of three, you're going to bring your awareness back into your body, into the world through the breath, same way we entered meditation, and what carried us through the meditation is what will bring us out. So breathing in, and you notice the stomach rise, the chest rise, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle, feel this life energy, warm tingling thread of energy running up the spine to the crown of your head. Pause at the top of the inhale, smile. Connect with the peace and the stillness, the gap between breaths, which is always there, just obscured most of the time. Hopefully there now in your awareness, having done this meditation. And then exhale, just sigh it all out, make a little sighing sound on the back of your throat, as though you're fogging sunglasses. But you keep your mouth closed. Notice how the air flows out of your nostrils. And the energy just subsides back down from the crown of your head, down the front channel of your body. Like a wave subsiding back into the ocean. Make that same wave-like sighing sound. Let the energy come to rest in your lower stomach, your groin. Pause there briefly, smile. And gap, maybe appreciate the stillness, the portal to eternity. It's a holy instant the lesson is pointing to. So that's 1, 2, just while your attention is down there, noticing the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. As you breathe in, notice maybe there's a subtle smell in your nose, a taste in your mouth. Notice maybe there's sounds in your surrounding environment. Whatever's going on, just notice it, but from this very calm, detached perspective. So there's no attempt to name these things or judge them or label them in any way. Just allow them to arise and then they subside. Or they don't. I can hear a water fountain outside, so that's just ongoing, but you just kind of allow it to be. The noise is there, but there's a deeper awareness. There's stillness underlying all noise. The ground of being, it's been called true reality. So as you start doing these little mind training exercises, you train your mind, start paying more attention to that, the background, ground of being, of true awareness, not the foreground of your sense perceptions and the meaning that you give to your sense perceptions, because this is what causes us pain and suffering, meaning, interpretation that we give to sense perceptions. And forgiveness, non-judgment, is not letting go of that meaning. So 3, open your eyes. Just practice the same non-judgmental practice with whatever you see, so that your eyes just rest randomly on an object. Make no attempt to select it or not select it. Just make it completely random. Let them rest there for a few seconds, then move on to something else and something else again. And as you're looking at these various objects we surround ourselves with, don't name it, don't give it a name or label it. Try and judge it, interpret it, create any kind of story around it. Just allow it to be as everything else is exactly the same. They all rest in the ground of being. That underlying awareness is the same. And that's the truth. That is the very foundation of your mind. This is the truth that will set you free. This is what will bring you into the holy instant and recognize that only that awareness right here, right now, is true and real. Everything else is made up, is illusion. It's been made by the ego to cover and obscure this fundamental truth. So I hope this meditation has helped you to get in touch with that truth, to experience it, and the deep peace and the non-judgment that comes when you access the truth. It's the condition of truth. Peace is the condition of truth, the result of a mind that has attached itself to truth and truth alone. So if you're on the WhatsApp group, I want to bid you farewell. Hope you have a very nice afternoon, and wish you good practicing of today's idea. I've sent you a shorter recording this morning, which you can use to top up your tank of peaceful presence, bring you back into the now. If you find yourself wandering off, so listen to that frequently this afternoon, and in response to any temptation to go out of the now, to go into the past, grievances, resentments, anger, etc., and the future, which is typically about fear, desire, anxiety, and so on. So wish you good practicing and a very peaceful afternoon, evening ahead. Namaste. If you're out there on YouTube, stick around. We're going to have a discussion session now on this lesson. This instant is the only time there is, and the previous one we studied, which is 243, lesson 243 on non-judgment. The two really go hand in hand, because the only way you're going to practice non-judgment moment by moment is to be rooted in the now. If your mind is in the past or in the future, you're by definition judging. Your thinking mind is and interpreting the present moment, whatever happens now, through this screen of the past and the future. Your future expectations and your past experiences color your entire perception of the world. So let me just unmute Debbie and Hazel. So Hazel, you mentioned, just going to stop the share for the moment. You mentioned you going off.
I went and had a bite to eat, but where do I? Okay, sorry. I'm half asleep.
Okay, well, stay if you like to. I don't know where Debbie is. She's still
expression session, because I'm not all here. I had a shocking night again. Where's my Debbie?
Yeah, okay. Well, if you want to talk about it, you can. If not.
Hello.
Hi, Hazel. Hi.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Sorry, I was late coming in. I also can't stay late as well, so.
Oh, okay. Well, make it a short session. It's half an hour or something. Half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah, half an hour is great.
Okay, so just a little check-in. Anything arising? Anything you want to share, express? Get off your chest.
All I'm going to say is I've been sending Reiki healing to this man. It might be too late for the physical side, but I'm hoping it'll give him some peace of mind. Know what it means anyway. He knows nothing, but I'm just hoping, because usually you have to ask for healing. So I'm just hoping that it's through.
Okay, this is the guy in your complex who's got cancer.
Yeah, he's got stomach cancer.
So the course talks about healing as really it's the healing of your own mind. You can't really heal him. So your responsibility is just. Sorry?
it might at least give him peace of mind.
Yeah. Well, all you can do is.
I don't know what he's going through at the moment. He doesn't communicate at all. So I'm just doing it off my own bat.
Okay. Well, sending blessings. All you can do really is send a blessing and wish him well. So,
I suppose it's in a way. You know, blessing is like a healing, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the course talks quite a lot about healing, and it talks about the Holy Spirit being the only source of healing. So this idea of oneness, just the Holy Spirit is really just the idea of oneness in your mind. So by seeing him as not separate from you, by seeing him as not sick, in truth, you're looking beyond the form of the body and the apparent physical condition he's got.
No.
And any difficulties you had with him. You said he wasn't the easiest man in the world to live with. So that's your responsibility, is you just see it right. You go, I'm seeing the Christ as this.
I just feel he's his own person, but anyway. Yeah.
Well, we all are. The ego is ultimately self-destructive. Jesus is very clear. He says we all come here to die. This is a dream of death. We think it's life, but it's not really life. It's a parody of life. It's an illusion of life, which must sooner or later end in death for everyone. And how that comes is ultimately irrelevant, because what we need to look at is the thought system behind it, the thought system of the ego that believes in separation and sickness and scarcity and loss and death.
Yeah. And
so all you can do is look at it truly from the Holy Spirit's eyes and say, okay, I see this truly, and I'm not fooled by it. I'm not going to be sucked into, this is terrible and scary, and poor him, he's dying and he's suffering. That makes the whole thing real in your mind, and it doesn't help him at all, because the whole situation is probably very real to him. So the only way you can really help him to lighten that is to do that forgiveness. Now, you may not say anything to him, you just do it in your mind, but that's all you can do sometimes.
It is.
Oh. And then you're doing
all I can do.
Yeah. So then just do what you can do. And he will, this is a lesson for him. He will have the opportunity to learn from it, or not. Maybe he won't learn anything from it. Maybe he'll just die, and he'll die in his current state of consciousness, and he'll come back and he'll do it all over again in another life. We don't know, but that's not really your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to see it truly and forgive. That's all forgiveness is. See it truly. See it with the eyes of the Holy Spirit that doesn't see the suffering, it just overlooks it. It doesn't see the sickness and the suffering and the death.
When you say forgiveness, you're forgiving yourself for seeing him as a sick person. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You're forgiving your own illusions. You're letting go of your own illusions.
I'm hoping that
now being shown to you through him.
I didn't hear what Debbie said.
Okay, say that again, Debbie.
My internet connection's on and off and on and off. Sorry, Debbie, what did you say?
I said we're forgiving ourselves for our perception of him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what forgiveness is. Very well said.
Is what?
Our perception of him. We're perceiving him.
Yeah, as what?
You see, we're perceiving him as sick and dying, and he's he must have done something terrible in his life to have got this cancer. So we're perceived that of him. So if we can forgive ourselves.
That he got cancer, is that what you're saying? It cut off again.
What I'm saying is that we have to forgive ourselves for seeing him as though he's got cancer.
Yeah. Okay.
And though there's something wrong with him, because there's nothing wrong with him in the spirit self.
No, not in spirit, obviously, yeah.
That's what you choose to focus on. And that's what the course is just teaching us over and over. Look truly, look with the eyes of the Holy Spirit. Don't judge through the eyes of the ego. Don't judge the form. Don't focus on the sickness and the death, because that's what the ego wants you to focus on. That then becomes the best proof, the ego's proof that it is true and real, that you see these signs of sickness and decay and death in the world around you. And you go, well, look, it must be real. Death must be real, because look, this person's dying. They're sick and they're dying. And oh God, that's going to happen to me at some point too. And so then the fear comes in, and then you're identified with the physical form, with the body, with the separate identity, and that's the whole game. That's what the ego wants you to do. So it's actually quite simple when you understand the course's teaching. It's very simple, but it's a constant vigilance, because constantly we are being faced with these illusions, these projections in the illusion.
So really, every single thought that you have, sorry, John, I thought you'd finish. So every single thought that you have, basically you have to forgive, because usually it's some kind of judgment, some kind of something. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, this leads us nicely into the topic of non-judgment, because we are so rooted into our perception of this world as real. The ego has so ingeniously put us in a body with these physical senses within a world apparently outside of ourselves that we now perceive in all its detail with these five senses. And now our minds have got so attached to that idea, and obviously the sense perceptions just confirm it, that we've forgotten that beyond the whole illusion of form and sense perceptions and bodies, there is this timeless truth, this ever-present love, this God, whatever you want to call it, true reality that's there. And so it's every thought you've got to look at, because every thought, if you're thinking about things in the world, which we all do most of the time, then you're actually thinking about an illusion. You're thinking about what's not really there. You're thinking about a dream world. You're thinking about illusory figures in a dream that's not real. And that's what the course is trying to teach us. And that's the non-judgment he's talking about, to go to that level of like, okay, I think it's virtually impossible to live in the world without ever thinking about the world. But what we can do is we can step back and we can go, okay, so I thought that thought, and maybe on the level of form, I needed to think about going shopping, or I needed to think about, making food, or I needed to think about some aspect of time. I've got an appointment. I need to do some whatever. We all have to kind of function in this world. But what the course is asking us to do is to zoom out and just go, hang on, look at all those thoughts and realize that they are happening within the construct. They are happening in the mind that thinks that it's separate. But by zooming out and saying, but actually I'm not really separate from source, there's still this underlying peace and this, this awareness of something beyond it. Even while I'm thinking those thoughts, I think what you do is you remove all of the negative charge, you remove all that negative emotion, don't you? And so the judgment, as the course uses it in the negative sense, is all about condemnation. It's about, oh, this is terrible, this is awful. And there's a condemnation, which often you project onto others, but actually is you're experiencing. So really you're just condemning yourself. And it's very heavy and kind of dark, and there's no happiness or light in it. And we've all been there. We know how that feels. It's just like heavy and dark, and feels like you kind of wading through quicksand, and you just can't get through the mire of the darkness. The Course is trying to say, look, underneath that, this is base awareness. It's pure awareness that is non-judgmental by definition. It doesn't judge any of the forms in this world because it realizes that they're all illusion. One, he says over and over, only the truth is true, everything else is false. So don't make what is false somehow more real than some other part of the illusion, which is what we do. I know this, I like this part of the illusion a little bit better, so I prefer that part. And so then we have all these preferences and desires and expectations for how we think things should turn out based on a past that isn't even real. Based on our past experiences, we've now got this little ego that judges everything through that lens of the past and expects that certain situations should turn out as it wants them to. And if that happens, then it's happy briefly. And if it doesn't happen, which happens a lot of the time, then it's unhappy because its expectations haven't been met. And then it holds a grievance. And that's what judgment does to us. So that's how judgment works. It's so entrenched in our minds. It's at the very core of the ego's thought system, the very core of who we think we are as human beings. We judge all the time by default. If you really start to observe it, moment by moment, just observe your thoughts, and that's really the practice. I think that's how we become non-judgmental and forgiving by default. Is you just start zooming out and you start looking at your thoughts and saying, okay, is that really real? Is that really a true, real thought? Especially if you notice that it's distressing or disturbing in any way. That's the alarm clock. That's the warning signal. Okay, hang on, I'm going into judgment now because I'm not feeling peaceful. I'm not feeling loving. I'm feeling tight, contracted, constricted, limited, whatever you want to label that feeling. Okay, so why? Well, there's a judgment behind that for sure. The mind is judging in a certain way, and that's creating the emotion, the heaviness, the darkness. So Jesus is always saying, go back to first principles and just see that, remind yourself, none of this is real. Only the now is real. And the now is beyond time and space. It's beyond whatever's happened in time and space. And just go to that pure awareness, go into that place. And there, none of those perceptions mean anything. None of them exist in truth. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
So it's a very deep practice. I mean, this is a lifetime practice to train your mind to that point of like every moment, every thought, there's an awareness, there's a vigilance.
Yeah.
You notice, okay, judgments arising. I'm going out of peace now. I'm moving into a heaviness, a tightness, a contraction, whatever you want to call it, fear, anger. Ultimately, it's all the same. Jesus is saying all negativity is the same. It's one emotion, really, which you could label fear. That just, it feels like a constriction, a contraction, a limitation on your being. There's no openness, there's no expansiveness. It's dark, it's limited. I mean, we all know, we put words to it, but in the end, you've just got to tune in to what that feels like in your mind and in your body. The body's often a good cue because the mind and the body have got so intertwined by the ego, but you can use those bodily mechanisms to monitor, to go, okay, I'm feeling tight. I've got a knot in my stomach. I've got a sweaty palms. I can feel a heat in my body. Those are all cues, signs that, okay, I'm judging here. I'm out of alignment with source. Okay, let me let this go. Let me practice letting it go. That's all forgiveness is. Forgiveness is the antidote to judgment. Saying, okay, yeah. I can consciously let all this go. I can consciously find peace no matter what the situation is. And the beauty of it is he's not saying, look, you are going to judge. That's what your ego is designed to do. That's what you've been doing your entire life. So you are going to have times where you go out of alignment, where you are judging, but then you can bring these back, can bring them back into source, bring your mind back to a connection with who you really are through this practice of looking at the thoughts and letting them go. It's actually not that complicated. It's not a complicated practice. It's difficult because we're not used to doing it. We never get trained. No one taught you how to do this when you were growing up. We don't get taught how to do this as adults. In fact, we get taught how to do the opposite. So it's an entirely different skill that you've got to learn. But it can be learned. And that's really all the course is trying to teach you. Okay, just let go. How you let go or forgive, release, surrender, call it whatever you want. The thoughts and the emotions that are not serving you, that recognize them as such. And just let them go as they arise, and do that very quickly so that you don't dwell on them for hours, days, weeks, months, years, as some people do. You're able to just let it go in minutes, seconds, maybe even. That's where you're aiming to get. Okay, I'm aware of it. I can collapse it. I can let it go in a few seconds, a few minutes or two, and I'm done. I can just drop it. That's what we need to learn. So, any comments on that?
Not so easy.
No, it's the hardest thing. If it was easy, then we'd all be spiritual masters. But
Yeah, indeed.
It's difficult because it requires so much vigilance of your mind, so much awareness of what's going on in your mind, of your thoughts, and then being able to let them go, to observe them, to notice. Okay, well, this is not really serving me. That's where most people don't even know. They don't know what's a true thought and what's not. So the course is training us to start to become aware. Okay, what's true and what's not, which thoughts and feelings are true and which are not. And if you can distinguish, you can distinguish the difference. That's actually the only positive use of judgment. So the course uses judgment in two senses. It says judgment, as the Holy Spirit judges, is necessary. You must judge between the false and the true in order to differentiate them. You must. But what you don't want to do is to judge the negative as real. And you do that whenever you condemn, when you attack, when you fear. Those are all forms of judging the false as true. Does that make sense?
What's the truth? What is the truth that we need to find? What will be a true thought? Surely anything that's, even if you say the sun is shining, that's a judgment of some kind.
Well, so this is where you need to understand the way the course uses judgment. You observe something and you go, oh, the sun is shining. Yeah, on a level that is a judgment. Your mind is interpreting something in the dream. You're saying, there, I see that. But what you need to be aware of is the underlying emotional tone.
Or the attachment to that saying it's
it's like
shining.
The sun is shining and actually I'm quite happy and there's a lightness and then it's a symbol. The sun can be a symbol of awakening, of something light and free and happy and joyful, if you choose to see it as that. So you look at the emotional tone of that thought, and that's really where the judgment in the negative sense comes in. When that emotional tone is dark, is negative, is constricted, contracted, doesn't make you feel light and happy and peaceful. That's the kind of judgment you need to be very aware of.
But should we be because surely if I'm happy because of something happening on the outside of me, that isn't a good idea. Because
Well,
that's
no.
also conditional, because that's also a conditional thing. I should be
Yeah.
feeling okay whether the sun is shining or not.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yes. Jesus does say the things you think you like in this world will hold you back as much as the things you think you dislike, because it's all attachment. However, what you can see, if you start to master this, you can see everything as a symbol, merely an external symbol, a reflection, a projection of this inner light that's already there.
Okay.
So that's what he's trying to train us to see. Say, okay, I'm not happy because the sun is shining on the level of form, but I see the sun as a symbol of my inner joy and of awakening and of the light. And isn't it wonderful? Because I'm now accessing through that symbol, I'm actually accessing the inner joy. Or saying that another way, the symbol is just a reflection of my inner joy, which I'm feeling already. But now everything I see from that place of inner peace and joy becomes symbolic of peace and joy. Because what else could it be a symbol of? You know, anything it could be the other option is that it's a symbol of darkness, that the symbol of the ego. And so he's training us to let go of our existing perceptions of the world. The ego's judgmental perceptions, the condemnation, the heaviness, the darkness. You know, oh God, it's another, I mean, you look at the sun from an ego perspective, oh God, another day. I've got to get up again and go to work and go through another, 12 hours of this shit. Excuse my, but that's what the ego will tell you. And it's very heavy, and time just seems to be a trap, and you're going on, and it's just never ending, and you're caught in this spiral of, the past thoughts and the future thoughts, and you can't escape. And he's pointing us to a place where you can be very present. I'm in the moment, right here, right now. I'm aware, I'm in the moment, and it doesn't matter if the sun is shining or not, or it's raining or not, or what's happening externally or not, because right here, right now, I'm aware. I'm connected to my presence. And that's eternal. That's not dependent on the sun or night or day or up or down or hot or cold or any of those things. But now I see them. Doesn't mean you're not going to see them with the body's eyes, but you see them now differently. If you're really connected to your source, you're really in the present moment. You're not going to see them through that heavy screen of the past. Your past judgments, your past experiences. Oh, this is dreadful. My life's so terrible. Or whatever. Maybe it's not quite as heavy and dark as that overtly, but it's just subconsciously, you go, oh, that person's done that again. People never frigging get back to me. They don't treat me with respect. And you have that thought based on past experience of being let down by people. That's an example of a judgment. And we do it. I notice myself doing it. You're in business, people don't get back to you all the time. Not again, because this is, but that's now a judgment, and it's taken you into a negative space, hasn't it? The thoughts and the emotions are related to that are not happy, positive, light, peaceful. So then you've got to notice that and go, okay, it's just a setup. The ego's using that particular situation to get to me, to pull me back into judgment, to pull me back into this darkness, this contraction, to keep me away from love. That's the only purpose of it. There's no other reason for these situations, these apparently difficult, negative situations in the world to exist. That's why they're there. And when you start to see that, you just see it's a setup, it's a game. The ego's just been playing you like a puppet on a string your whole life. And waking up is starting to go, no, I'm not the puppet anymore. I'm the puppet master. There's actually an awareness above this that can look at this and that can actually direct this puppet, this avatar, this body, this thing that I operate within the world and all my sense perceptions, that can direct it in a much happier, much more peaceful, much more purposeful way than just being, swayed by external circumstances all the time and dependent on those. You just observe how most people live their lives, and they just, what's next? What's next externally for me? What can I avoid pain, and can I get pleasure in the world? That's sort of the ego's program. Hi, Dad.
What are you doing?
I'm just online. I'll join you just now. It was just my dear father coming for tea. So yeah, it's a very deep topic. This idea of judgment, non-judgment, living in a non-judgmental way. It's totally connected with being in the present, being in the now. So maybe to end the session, we just read. There's just 2 lessons, actually really short. There's like 4 paragraphs. This instance is the only time there is, and then the previous one we did yesterday on non-judgment, which was lesson 243. So, Debbie, do you want to read? First paragraph?
I have conceived of time in such, this instant is the only time there is. I have conceived of time in such a way that I defeat my aim. If I elect to reach past time to timelessness, I must change my perception of what time is for. Time's purpose cannot be to keep the past and future one. The only interval in which I can be saved from time is now. For in this instant has forgiveness come to set me free. The birth of Christ is now, without a past or future. He has come to give his present blessings to the world, restoring it to timelessness and love. And love is ever present here and now.
Anything stand out for you there, or anything you weren't?
I think for in this instant has come, forgiveness come to set me free, and love is ever present here and now.
It's such a simple message. You think, how could I have missed this all my life? But we have.
Yeah.
It's here now. It's not anywhere else. It's not in the future. It's not out there in the world. It's not something you can go and seek for and try and find and try and acquire or accumulate. It's actually bizarre. It's like it's right there in you, and yet you've just been missing it your whole life because you've been in the judgmental mind, and you've been in the past and the future, and you're seeking outside of yourself for some kind of source of happiness, and it's right there. It's in you, always, ever present, always there, just waiting for you to become aware of it. It's kind of funny. That's why they say enlightenment. The Zen masters say enlightenment is a joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you get it, you're like, oh my God, that's just ridiculous. It was already there. It's always been there, and I've been desperately seeking for this thing that's already there. It's like I remember once, as an analogy, I was looking for something. I thought I'd lost it. I don't know, it was a key or something. And I swear, I searched for this thing for about 10 minutes. And then finally, I just like stopped and went, okay, like, what am I not seeing here? What am I not? And I looked in my hand, and I opened my hand. It was in my hand the whole time.
Oh, no.
How bizarre is that? So you so switched off to the present moment of like, actually, I'm holding this all the time.
Yeah.
And yet I'm looking for it out there, not aware that it's already in my hand. I already have it.
Yeah.
It's quite bizarre how that can happen, but it did in that physical situation. But it's a good metaphor for like, hang on, like, how have I been doing this my whole life? It's already there. The key's in my hand, and yet I'm not even aware of it. I'm looking outside for what I already have.
What did you have in your hand?
Pointless.
Keys. He had keys in his hand.
I think it was a key. I can't remember. It was something, that just fits it into the palm of my hand. And I'd been holding it so tight and just unaware that like there was something in my hand. So my mind is off on a trip, looking outside of myself for this object I'm seeking. And yet it's in my hand all the time. And I actually had to just pause To find it, I had to just pause, stop and go, okay, stop the seeking and just pause and reflect. What's like, okay, what am I missing here?
I'm listening.
And then-
I'm just going off screen. I'm listening. Yeah, carry on.
Okay, and then I opened my hand and was like, oh my God, it's here. It's been here all along. What a laugh. I was like, what an idiot. How could you miss what's in your own hand? How could you be so unaware? But it's a little metaphor of what we do in our lives. We're just unaware. We don't know that we have this thing. And so we go looking outside of ourselves for what we already have. Anyway, so let's move on to paragraph 2. Hazel, do you want to read paragraph 2?
Thanks for this instant, Father. It is now I am redeemed. This instant is the time you have appointed for your son's release and for salvation of the world in him.
Okay. Anything stand out for you there?
Not really. It's all out.
Well, this instant, it's a very profound.
Just
this
tell me, I just want to ask you something. When I read something, do I go on and off, or is it just from my internet? Does it affect?
No, you seem to be okay. Okay.
You
Then
what?
just-
Sorry.
You
Really,
did,
really bad this afternoon. It's the worst it's been. But I'm just hoping my son can rectify it this week.
Yeah, well, you need to find your service provider. And see if you can increase the speed.
Daughter was pretty au fait, and she said it needs some more, another cable in the back here somewhere. But she said also it was my computer being old, also it's another problem. But I think it will improve with that extra cabling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck with sorting that out. So as I was saying, this is, it's enormously profound. These lessons, they're so short, a little short lesson, a couple of paragraphs. But if you actually live this is radical enlightenment in this lesson. This instant right now is the only time there is. If you really live that, you're enlightened from this single lesson. And that's the beauty of the course. Each lesson, if you really apply it, will take you the whole way into ultimate truth, ultimate enlightenment. And this instant is the time that you have appointed for your son's release and for salvation of the world in him. Wow. I mean, it's like, whoa, what is he saying to us? The whole kahuna, everything is in this little lesson. It's there, your son's release, the mind's release from fear and guilt and pain and all the distress and disturbance and dysfunction of the world, and for salvation of the world in him. Because when you do this, then the world is saved in and through you. You become the shining light, the savior.
Do you think we should end now so you can go and have tea, Jono?
Yeah, I wanted to just there's one more lesson, which is on judgment. That was yesterday. So I'll let's just do that. It's only 2 paragraphs. And what I like about these lessons in the second half of the workbook is they're so short. They're just really little pointers. It's like a few sentences just to point your mind in the right direction. So Hazel, do you want to read? In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll do this as a closing prayer. That's what I'll do.
Okay, thank you.
So let's just close it out.
I've got it, but
yeah, it's fine. I'll read it. So just make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes. Cup your hands in your lap. Take a nice deep breath in. And say to yourself as you breathe in, today I will judge nothing that occurs. I will be honest with myself today. I will not think that I already know what must remain beyond my present grasp. I will not think I understand the whole from bits of my perception, which are all that I can see. Today I recognize that this is so, and so I am relieved of judgments that I cannot make. Thus do I free myself in what I look upon, to be in peace as God or love created us. So exhale and just sink into that peace. Give thanks for these profound teachings given by our master teacher Jesus to help us to correct our minds, to find the peace, the happiness, the joy that we long for, which is always there. It's in our own minds. So say, Father, Source, today I leave creation free to be itself. I honor all its parts in which I am included. We are one because each part contains your memory, and truth must shine in all of us as one. Just feel the power, the presence of those words. Feel the truth shining in you as you breathe in, and you're breathing in the light of truth, the light of oneness, which is all available to you right now in the present moment. Smile at that thought. Put your hand on your heart. Just anchor the state in for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Set the intention to stay here, no matter what comes up. The ego comes up with all kinds of judgments based on the past or the future, but you really don't have to allow any of these to disturb your peace in any way. You can just notice them and you exhale, release them, and remind yourself that this instant is the only time there is, and that you will judge nothing that occurs. So it is said, so it is done. And just open your eyes, continue on with your day in this hopefully very present, very connected and non-judgmental way. So thank you for listening. Thanks for, if you're out there on YouTube, for joining the session. Thank you, Debbie and Hazel. So just logistics, we're not going to do a session tonight. The next session will be tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. Debbie, I'm just going to try and keep it at UK time. So it's 12:30 UK time. My clocks went back this morning. So if we can do the meditation at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then 6:30. So hope to see you then. Can you make it?
I should be able to. At the moment, I should be free.
Okay, 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, and then Hazel 6:30 tomorrow evening.
Yeah, can I ask you
Yeah.
both a question when you're off tube? It's really worrying me.
What's worrying you?
You're still live on YouTube, but when you go off.
Okay, well, I'll